everyone, Stephanie with Mama Bear Ink. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today we are going to be making this beautiful Christmas card. It is inspired by one I saw on Pinterest by a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator named Glenda Calkins. And we are just going to have all sorts of fun with die cutting and vellum and foil paper and glimmer paper, and let's get started. To make our card today, we're going to be using the Holly Jolly Greetings stamp set, and this is available in Stampin' Up's 2015 holiday catalog, and we're actually only going to be using one word out of it today. It's this large joy image. So we'll be using that in Cherry Cobbler ink. We're also going to need a bunch of cardstock. We're going to need Whisper White, and this is the thick Whisper White cardstock, and I have this cut 11 by 4 1/4 and scored here in the center at 5 1/2 to create a top folding A2 size card. I also have a piece of Whisper White that is cut, ooh, you probably can't see that on top of the Whisper White, cut 5 inches by 3 3/4, and in the third piece cut 4 1/8 by 2 1/2 inches. On top of this, we'll need some Cherry Cobbler. We have one piece cut 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and a piece cut 4 1/2 by 2 5/8. And finally, we will need some of the fancy vellum gold foil, and this is cut 5 by 3 3/4. And additionally, I told you there was a lot of cardstock, we're going to need a piece of gold foil paper and red glimmer paper. And to cut our pieces today, we're going to be using the Delicate Ornaments Thinlits die set, specifically the kind of longer ornaments, I guess. We're going to use the detailed portion as well as the outline portion, as well as the little ornament topper. And then it also, the set includes this little flower die as well. So we'll be using all 4 of these. And beyond that, we are just going to need a small piece of gold cording, which is also available in the holiday catalog. So to get started, the first thing that we're going to do is cut our gold foil paper and red glimmer paper. Now then, the detailed portion of the ornament cutout is going to go on the gold, along with the little flower and the ornament topper. And the outline image, or the kind of background for that, is going to go on the red glimmer paper. And we can cut all of this out at once using our Big Shot Machine magnetic platform, sandwich it between 2 cutting plates and just run it through. Or if you just have the multi-purpose platform, sandwich it between 2 cutting plates and run it through on tab 1. And once you have done that, you will have your detailed ornament piece in the gold foil paper, the background for that in the red glimmer paper, as well as your little ornament topper in the gold, and the little flower in the gold as well. Now with the flower, you can see that I have mounted this on top of some white Whisper White cardstock using my 2-way glue pen, and then I have very carefully cut around it, and I did that ahead of time just to save some time because it took a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does take a little bit to get that cut out. So let's move on to kind of building our card up. So the first thing we're going to do is take our card base, and woo, we got red glitter everywhere. Take our card base and our large layer of Cherry Cobbler, and we are going to layer those over top of each other, just using snail adhesive because we're going paper to paper. So we will layer this, making sure to center it. And we only have about 1/8 of an inch border, so just keep that in mind when putting it together. And the next pieces that we're going to layer are our Whisper White piece that is cut 5 by 3 3/4, along with the fancy foil vellum that's cut to the same size. Now the reason I'm layering this over Whisper White is because if I was just to put it down on top of the cherry cobbler, it kind of loses something. I like that bright white in between the gold foil lines. And because we are going to be placing another piece over top in the center, I am going to put my adhesive in the center so no one will be able to see it. And I just want to, these need to match up just about perfectly. And you can see a little bit of that adhesive there, but again, it's going to be covered up, so it's not going to matter. And we'll get some snail on the back side of the Whisper White as well, and mount this into the center of the cherry cobbler on the front of our card. And now we are going to take our smaller piece of cherry cobbler along with our piece of Whisper White and mount the Whisper White onto the cherry cobbler. We're going to center that up nicely. Okay, and now we are going to do our stamping. So we have our Joy stamp and some cherry cobbler ink. And we are going to stamp our Joy right down. Stamp our Joy. See? Love Stampin' Up. You just stamp your Joy all over the place. Okay, right down in the bottom right-hand corner. Nice and straight, like so. And I didn't get a real good impression, so just make sure that you ink that up well before you stamp it down. And now we are going to put snail on the back of this piece as well and mount it to the center of our vellum. Just like that. All right, now it's time to put our ornament together. Now again, I have already mounted the gold detail cut flower onto some Whisper White cardstock and cut that out around the edges. And I'm going to use my two-way glue pen again, and I'm just taking the little ornament topper here because it layers over top of the ornament just like that. So we'll get that into place. And then, and try not to get glue on your fingers before you press it down, because otherwise it will leave your fingerprint just like that. Gives new meaning to personalized Christmas card. All right, now we are going to need some liquid glue because we are gluing this foil paper onto glimmer paper. And so we need something with good grab that's really gonna hold it. So I'm just putting some Tombow Mono Multi on the back of my detailed ornament piece here. And I'm going to pick that up and layer it right over top of the red glimmer paper. And push that down so that we get good adhesion. Try not to get glue all over it because I'm telling you, this gold foil will pick up the glue. Okay, and the next thing that I am going to do is take my piece of gold cording and I'm just going to tie a little bow. Once our little bow is tied here and our foil paper is glued securely to our glimmer paper, we're going to finish assembling this card. So the first thing that we're going to do is put some dimensionals on the back side of the ornament piece. Then we will layer this ornament we want to come down to the Joy, but we don't want to touch it, and just like so. So that it's kind of off at the top, off at the side, down by the Joy. Then we will take our little flower that we put together with the Whisper White. We're going to put one dimensional on the back of it, even though I just put two up there. And we will layer it down here at the corner, just like so. We're going to take a mini glue dot and our piercing tool, and we're going to take this mini glue dot and kind of fold it up a little bit here, just because our knot is so tiny on our cording bow. There we go. And put it on the back of the cording, and then we will layer this over the top of our ornament, just like so. And you can then trim your cording to be the length that you prefer. And the last thing that we're going to do to finish up this card is to bring out some dazzling details in Cherry Cobbler. And you see there's 3 little berries in the center of our flower here that we put together. And I just want to put a little bit of dazzling details into those 3 berry spaces. You remember from my video a couple of days ago, it does take a little bit of time for that Cherry Cobbler dazzling details to dry. So you're going to want to set your card aside until it is nice and dry and you can handle it easily. But other than that, we have completed our card for today. Thank you guys very much for coming and hanging out with me. I very much appreciate it, and I look forward to doing it again soon. Take care.